Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the SomerKnits podcast. Welcome to episode 33 of the SomerKnits podcast. My name is Summer and I am a knitter based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm here just to share with you all of my projects and everything that I'm working on, everything that inspires me, and today specifically to share about gift knitting. I wasn't going to do a ton of gift knitting this year, and just like every year, I keep thinking of more and more things that I would like to make, and I ended up just diving headfirst right into gift knitting. I would like to say I'm going to keep today shorter, not because I'm worried about the episode length, but because I had oral surgery on Monday, and even though it is now Friday, it still hurts quite a lot. So my talking is painful, and so hopefully I can get everything I need said without too much rambling. Like I said, it is the gift knitting season, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or another winter holiday. A lot of winter holidays are associated with the giving of gifts, and sometimes we just like to give gifts just because. Birthdays, no reason. So gift knitting is what's happening here right now, and so that is mostly what I'm going to cover. I do have some long-term whips that I'm not necessarily going to touch on today. I'll get back to them next episode when they've had a bit more progress, hopefully. But I want to focus on mainly the gift knitting today. I might show the Saglan towards the end of works in progress just to show you where I am on that. But I do have a number of finished objects today, so we're going to dive into those in just a second. Because my mouth hurts and it's really gloomy outside and it's very windy, I have made a cup of chai tea in the Snowy Trees mug by Stone Cottage Pottery. I'm going to look up her name and put it on the bottom because it's kind of long. But it's one of my favorite winter mugs. It's got a nice weight to it. It's got a really good handle, and it's just the right size. And it's a decaf mountain spice chai by Humblebee Botanicals that my brother and his wife gave me a couple Christmases ago. So the tea is a rooibos, and you can see it's got lots of all the nice spicy things you find in a comforting chai. And I really like a good chai this time of year, especially when it's cold outside. I find it very warming and soothing. So that's what I have going today. It'll probably be cold by the time I'm done talking, but that's okay. The mug is microwave safe. I'm going to start with finished objects like I normally do. I had not planned to make any socks as Christmas gifts. It was not in my original planning. And then ANDREA MOWRY's fall knit-along challenge came out. And this year it was a DK weight sock pattern. I did not participate last year because it was regular old sock weight socks, and I was not going to be able to knit a pair of socks in 4 days because the main thing that my family does the day after Thanksgiving in the US is decorate for Christmas. So we put up all the Christmas decorations, which takes the entire day. So I know a lot of people have that whole day to sit and knit, but it is not available to me for doing that. So I don't usually participate, but this year it was DK weight socks, and I actually managed to bust out 2 pairs, so I was pretty proud of myself. So this is the first pair of Bear Paw socks. The pattern's by ANDREA MOWRY. They grew a lot in blocking. Now, the sock blockers are too big for the socks because the sock blockers are for my size, and I wear a US women's size 6 to 6.5, depending on the shoe. And I was knitting these socks for someone who wears a US women's size 8.5. Um, Despite the fact that her foot is bigger than mine, they ended up growing too much. So you can see there's quite a lot of foot there. And I don't swatch for socks. So I think that this is a fairly gender neutral color. You can see there's flecks of like a red and brown, but mostly it's kind of this orangey tan. And the contrast color was shades of kind of an orangey with a little bit of a red in there. So I think that I'm actually going to end up giving these to my brother and knitting a new pair for my sister-in-law, slightly smaller, because they do go really quick. The second pair that I managed to bust out was from Scraps, and I felt pretty good about that. So this first pair, back to this, these two skeins were just sitting next to each other when I started looking through my stash to see what I had that might work for this knit along, and I couldn't believe that I hadn't noticed how well they would go together before. So I feel like they were perfect for marling together, and I'm really pleased with how they came out. So this other pair turned out very Christmassy, not originally intentionally. The I don't know how well you can see. There's a solid green yarn and a variegated yarn held together here, and a kind of a kettle dyed or variegated red, but it goes from like a red to burgundy and back again in this part here. So the variegated yarn was a Hedgehog Fibers that doesn't actually look Christmassy by itself. Just because, I guess because it's so dark. It has the burgundies and it has greens in it, but it doesn't just scream Christmas for whatever reason. But even though this green was in it and this burgundy was in it, when I put it all together in one big sock, it looks very Christmassy, which is fine. So these are going to be for my mom. I was going to try them on my sister to make sure that they're not too big for my mom. She does have a bigger foot than me, and you can see that these aren't nearly as big as that last pair that I showed. The toe does go off the end of my blockers a bit, but there's a whole lot less extra in the foot here. And then a fairly normal looking leg and a fleagle heel, you can see. So that's what the red would look like on its own, held double. That and the fleagle heel are both just the red held double. So I weighed, these were all scrap balls, and I weighed them, and it was enough to do the women's size medium in the pattern. So I did the toes, and I did the foot all the way through the gusset on both sides, and then I weighed the leftover green, and I weighed the leftover red. And I guess I did the fleagle heel before I weighed the leftover red. And so then I figured out what I could do on the legs based on the number of grams of yarn I had left. So I ended up doing 30 rows marling with the red, 10 marling with the green, another 5 marling with the red, and then 10 rows of just the red held double. And that worked out to just tiny bits of each one left, not a lot. So the math worked out really well, and I think I got a great pair of socks out of it, and they are fun, and they're Christmassy if you're not wearing shoes, but my mom tends to wear her DK weight socks with boots, like Doc Marten style boots. So actually, only the burgundy cuff is going to show, probably. And I feel like that could be worn anytime, because nobody's going to know that inside your boots the sock is Christmassy. Like, they're just not going to know. So 2 pairs of Andrea Mowry's Bear Paw socks, and you'll find out in a little bit that I actually have another pair on the needles already. Oh, I left something blocking upstairs. I'll go get it in a little bit. Maybe. Next up in finished objects, I actually have 2 of the same thing, And these are both the Barley hat by Tin Can Knits in the toddler size. I did go a bit long because I wanted them extra slouchy, and I didn't count the rounds, I don't think. I just kind of was going by measurement. So you can see one of them came out just a hair longer than the other. And that's okay because one of the kids is turning 2 and one's turning 1. So I'll just give the smaller one to the one turning 1 and the bigger one to the one turning 2. I loved this yarn and how it knit up. I won this yarn in a drawing that was a whole bunch of Alaskan makers and collaborators doing a giveaway together. And this yarn was by 64 Degrees North, and it is an alpaca merino ARAN. And so these knit up really quick because it was an ARAN weight, but it is divinely soft. I don't think any kid would find this scratchy. I don't foresee any issues with the kids wearing them, and the parents are conscientious enough, hopefully, not to throw them in the washing machine. And I'll send care tags with each one. But I'm very excited about these two hats. One is for my nephew, and one is for one of my cousin's babies. So it helps that baby and toddler knits are so fast because the instant gratification from finishing things just motivates me to make more things. So, I mean, helps, but doesn't maybe. But I had so much fun making these. I love the Barley pattern. I believe it's a free pattern by Tin Can Knits. I made one for my son years ago, and it's just so cute on him. He still wears it, and I just think that it's adorable as a slouchy pattern, especially on longer haired little kids. I mean, my son's hair is pretty long, and my nephew's hair is, it's not like super long, but it is long enough that it'll stick out from the hat and everything, and it'll be really adorable. So anyway, very excited about those hats. That's it for things that are totally finished, but I have something that is like almost finished, and so I ran to grab it off the blocking mats because it is so adorable that I can't even. It is a baby size. It really came out more toddler size, but that's fine. School Run hat by Laura of PENROSE Knits, and it is in this gorgeous purple yarn that I got at the Yarn Adventure Truck on Small Business Saturday. They were here visiting one of my local yarn stores, and so I was able to stop by there. And I can't remember what I've done with the tag, but I will try and remember to put it on the screen. But it's something like, I couldn't find it in Ravelry to link it, so it's something like super soft yarn or something. Anyway, it's really pretty. I love the purple. I love the picot edge. The only part of the hat I haven't done yet is I haven't sewn down the inside, and I want to do the double palms because I think they're adorable. So I will try the fork trick and make 2 teeny tiny pom-poms and attach them at the corners, and I think it's going to be adorable. I have a cousin who's pregnant, and this will be for her little girl. She said she didn't want just traditional baby pink, and I can totally understand and relate to that. So I wanted to find something that was soft and beautiful, but not traditional girly pink, but still like, I don't know, softly baby, but exciting also. I just love the purples here. So I thought that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed knitting that. I kind of want to make a school run hat for my daughter also, but I have too many other things to get through right now, so that might have to wait until post-holiday season. The next thing that I am working on, hats are a theme right now. I mean, hats are a great gift knit, and they're fairly quick usually. But I don't remember how much I shared, but this is my handspun. It was a 4-ounce bag of Admiral Blue, and then a gray just merino silk. And so I spun and plied that. So it's just a 2-ply, but it came out about a sport weight. It is a little bit thick thin. It is not perfect. My spinning is not perfect by any means. Not always consistent, but that's okay. I enjoy doing it. But this is so far the hat. It is the classic ribbed hat, classic rib beanie. I don't remember. It's a free Purl Soho pattern, and it's not the one that's 2x2. It's the 1x1 rib hat. Um, anyway, you go until the body of the hat is 9 inches for the adult medium, I believe. And that's so you can get a nice folded brim after you've done the decreases and everything. So I'm at like 6.5, 7 inches, somewhere in there. Because I can only knit on this when he's not home, or I just don't want him to see it. So I only knit on it when he can't see it. And I don't know how well you can see the color, but up close there's flecks of greens, reds, blues, all kinds of things in that Admiral Blue color. And then the gray that it's plied with is just solid. So it makes for a nice neutral looking blue-gray hat. And so I think he'll like it because it will go with everything. But so many of his hats are black that he's mentioned that it'd be nice to have a few not black choices. Not all of his knit hats, but like almost all his baseball caps are black. But anyway, so this is my husband's hat. This is the first time that I've actually knit with my hand spun and not just like put it on a shelf. So that's kind of an exciting milestone as well. It just occurred to me that I did not even talk about what I'm wearing at the beginning at all. So this is going to be a choppy, out of order podcast, but who cares? This is my Christmas ranunculus. It is made using Southern Skeins yarn in a merino silk DK blend. It has the textured ranunculus pattern at the top, and then I made it longer so it goes like down to my hips. I did do like the 3/4 sleeves that come to a point, so it is the diagonal sleeve directions that are in the pattern, with the I-cord edging that's in the pattern. It is the closer neckline. I know there's 2 necklines offered in the pattern, and it is from the original pattern before there were multiple sizes, so it's just following the instructions for the 1 size pattern, but a size down on the needles. So I believe I made this on size 9 needles. But it is just, it is my subtly Christmas sweater because it's kind of reds, pinks, watching delivery trucks drive by, and some green flecks. You can see there's lots of greens as you get down into it. So it is my Christmas ranunculus, and this is its first wear of this season. And if you were around last year, you might remember that I made myself this Christmas ranunculus, and then it was hot all of December, and I only wore it like twice, which was really sad. So it is cold-ish right now. It's more gloomy than cold, but that makes it feel colder. But it is forecasted to be a cooler December than last year. So maybe my Christmas ranunculus will get a whole lot more wear. We are going to our first Christmas party of the season on Sunday. So if it is cool enough, I will wear it. And luckily, it being a merino silk DK weight, it's not too heavy. So it doesn't have to be bitter cold to wear it. Just not 70 degrees outside, which it was a lot of last December. It was just really warm. I think today it's in the 50s, which is fine, and it wouldn't really feel super cold except that it is so cloudy and so windy, and just it's that kind of gray day that makes you feel cold even if it's not really cold outside. Okay, my mouth is really starting to hurt, so I'm going to try not to go on too much. But there are a few other things I would like to visit. One of them is the biggest Christmas project that I am making, not size-wise, but involved project-wise this Christmas, is a Ballet Wrap cardigan for my daughter. So it is made holding one strand of Filcolana Arwetta, one strand of Filcolana Tilia, and one strand of a Southern Skeins sock yarn. So it's 3 strands thick, so it's going to be really nice and warm. I've done all the seaming, so the sleeves are on and seamed up both sides. I've worked on some of the end weaving, but dang, there's a lot because this was made in so many pieces. I've done the collar edging, but so many ends. So I've woven in, like, I'm over halfway on the ends, but now I have to do the belt. So I've done the first part of the belt, and oh, it's a tangled mess because I haven't pulled it out in a couple of days. Probably longer than that. I need to work on this one at night when the kids are asleep. So I've done the increases on the belt, and then you keep going for, I think the belt ends up 30 inches on each side. So this is the first side. So it's 15 inches to the increases, and then increases, and then I think you go until it's 30 inches total. This is the extra small because it's an adult size pattern and it's for a 10-year-old. You know, I do think it's going to fit fine. This is legitimately to wear to dance with a leotard for warmth. It's so soft. Like, I can't even tell you how soft it is. It feels amazing. So when I finish the other part of the belt, I have to pick up stitches here and do the same thing. And the belt on both sides is supposed to wrap all the way around her body and then tie in the front. So there should be plenty of length for that. She's fairly petite. She's almost as tall as me, which is just not right. I mean, she's 10. I know I'm only 5'1", and that's pretty short, but still, I feel like I should have a few more years before I have a child that towers over me. But I digress. I think that this is going to be beautiful. I also think if I ever made it again, I could do it without doing it in so many dang pieces. Maybe the seams add structure. I know that that is possible, but what a pain in the butt. So I had to talk myself into seaming it, and I did it over the course of 2 nights, and that turned out fine. I was going to block everything before I seamed it, but to heck with that. I didn't have the space to set it out to block without her seeing it. In all its unseamed pieces, I will make sure to block it before I give it to her. But I do think it's going to be beautiful, and I hope that it is what she was envisioning when she asked for a wrap cardigan. I can always make her another wrap cardigan if this isn't what she was thinking, but she loves dance, and I think that she would really love to have that for dance class. I think it would make her feel very special. So that is probably the Christmas gift I'm most excited to give. So I need to remind myself of that and get it finished, because it is also the one that's been on the needles the longest. Couple more things in progress. As far as gift knits, I said there was another Bear Paw sock on the needles, and there is, and it's tiny, but not tiny enough. And I know a loose knitter, but I followed the instructions for the 6 to 18 month size, and it's definitely big. So I'm going to go long enough that it can be a folded cuff, and then do a second one, obviously, because it was only 9 rows or rounds of the foot ribbing before I started the gusset, and it's the Flegel heel again. But because it was only 9 little rounds before the gusset increases, and then it's not that many stitches. I did it this morning. It's not going to take very long. I would probably try and do a second pair and only do like 4 or 5 rounds of the ribbing before I start the gusset, to try and make an even tinier pair. Who knows? Maybe I'll only do like 2 rounds of the ribbing before I start the gusset, because the gusset itself starts here. So yeah, if it didn't have 10 rows of the sock, it'd be closer. It'd be tinier. Anyway, there's plenty of this yarn because it's the same yarn from the school run hat. And look, there's tons of it. So I can totally get 2 pairs of tiny little Bear Paw socks out of the same yarn to go with the hat, because the hat should fit for 2 seasons, and I would think a couple of seasons worth of little matching socks would, you know, be appreciated. So just cast those on a whim, but they are so quick and so tiny and so gorgeous. Let's see, couple more things real fast. I am making fingerless mitts for my son. These are the Fire Pit mitts by Taylor Earl. She has a podcast that's Wool Needles Hands. It was actually like my gateway podcast. Can we say that? Yeah, first podcast I ever watched. The first thing I actually really watched on YouTube that wasn't like an instructional video. And then hers got kind of few and far between for a while, and I started looking for other podcasts and stuff. So yes, it was my gateway podcast. Anyway, these are the Fire Pit mitts, and I know they look long for a 7-year-old, but my intention is that they can be cuffed for extra warmth around his wrists, or they can go all the way up into his coat to make sure that there's no gaps. And I was thinking, I went ahead and did the small size. I'd messaged her and she said go down a few stitches, but I ended up doing the small size, which I can get my hand into. But my thinking is that if you have a kid, a lot of them have like just handfuls of those stretchy little super inexpensive gloves, and they're not super warm, but they're better than nothing because they tend to lose gloves at school because kids are kids, right? So my thinking was that he could have these over the top of those stretchy mitts, and this would give added warmth because this is real wool. I didn't mention, I'm really bad about remembering to mention every little thing about the project, so there's almost always something I forget. This is Cascade 220 paints, and it is blues and purples and stuff, and I've had it for like ever, and I think it was part of an exchange. But this was total stash diving, and this is like deep stash, like years old. I'm talking like, I don't know, 10 years old? I don't even know, maybe longer than that. Probably older than my daughter. Yeah, because I had kind of a hiatus from serious knitting where I only knit like on road trips and vacations and stuff. Anyway, these are super cute and fairly quick. The pattern calls for worsted weight yarn, and I think this is a size 7 needle. So I'm doing 42 rounds before you start the thumb gusset, and then going from there. It's nice because you just cast on and start knitting. There's no like ribbing or anything else. You get a nice rolled cuff, nice rolled bind off. Picking up the thumb, I did that with double pointed needles. It was super quick. So these will be a pair of Fire Pit mitts for him, and I think that he will enjoy them. Okay, we're almost done. Last gift knit in progress is a lap blanket for my husband's stepmom. I haven't it's picked up some leaves. Probably courtesy of the dog. The dog brings leaves in on his fur and then leaves them all over the house for everybody. But this is just a simple lap blanket. I started out trying to do a textured stitch in the middle, but the yarn is just too textured for that. So it is a garter border and just a stockinette middle. I'm not super far. You can see, because it's just kind of been neglected for other knits. This was supposed to be my simple on-the-go knitting, and I keep making hats. Oops. But it is only December 2nd, so I feel like I still have some time, and I will get to that, and I will continue to plug away on it. I don't know if I'm going to have enough of that yarn to make it the size I want. So I'm going to see how far I get with the 2 skeins that I'm holding together right now. And if 4 more skeins isn't going to be big enough, then I will stripe something else in there before I go on to the next 2 of that one. So that is it for gift knits in progress, and now it's on to Advent knitting. I know, more knitting on top of knitting, but if you got the Tea with the Bridgertons Advent self-striping sock yarn skein and you don't want to see it, then you should probably skip ahead, and I'll try and remember to put in how far you should skip. But I am going to show my progress and the whole skeins. So I ordered the self-striping yarn with the contrast mini, and this is the contrast mini, and I plan to do heels and toes with it. It's a pretty lavender color. I really like it. I ordered the Tea with the Bridgertons because the colors seem to be more my overall color scheme in general than a lot of the self-striping Advent skeins I was seeing. I do like the crazy colors of a lot of the 24 stripe Advent skeins, and I think it's fun that they are so wild and bright, but the colors in this one really spoke to me when the theme was announced. So I'm only going to show one of them, but it came as 2 50-gram skeins, and I wound them up on the night before December 1st, so on November 30th or whatever. And I am just knitting 1 stripe a day, so you can see that I have started. I just went straight into the ribbing with my sock yarn instead of trying to do, I didn't know if I had enough of my mini to do cuffs, heels, and toes, so I'm just doing heels and toes, and I'm doing 1 stripe a day. And then, and I know some people may think that this is crazy because of gauge differences. This one is on Magic Loop. I actually started them both on Magic Loop, so the yellow was done both on Magic Loop, and originally I put the second one on DPNs as storage because I was going to try and join them to do 2 at a time. I am never successful with casting on 2 at a time. I just end up with big tangle, and I get frustrated and I get mad, and so I just don't do it. Anyway, so this one I had put onto DPNs just to hold it, and then this morning when I was doing the purple stripe, I did the Magic Loop one, and then I was like, ugh, I don't really want to shuffle things, because I just originally had this on 2 DPNs, one for the top needle, one for the bottom needle. I just didn't feel like shuffling things, so I went ahead and spread this out to more DPNs and decided just to knit 1 on DPNs and 1 on Magic Loop. My gauge is closer between DPNs and Magic Loop than it is between either of those things and 9-inch circulars. My gauge is tighter on 9-inch circulars than it is on either of the others. Also, these socks are for me, and I'm not too worried about it. And if my gauge comes out just a hair different, I don't care. My feet don't care. Like, if somebody else cares, then sorry, but probably nobody cares. So, DPNs for 1, Magic Loop for the other. We're 2 stripes in. It's going to be really pretty, and I'm very excited to have a pair of socks for myself by the end of the month because I tend to be a very slow sock knitter. So my plan actually, once I get past the ribbing, is to do, I printed out the pattern and I have left it somewhere else. I think they're called the puzzle socks, and they are meant for a self-striping skein, so that's really nice. And it just gives a little bit of interest because of some slip stitches where you do the color changes, and so I'm excited about that. So that'll be fun, but I want to get let's see, how many rounds worth of ribbing do I have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 rounds of ribbing right now, and I probably want at least 20 for the cuff. So that'll be 2 more days of ribbing on the cuff of my sock. So then we'll move into the stripes for the puzzle socks, and I will see how long each stripe is and kind of try to do the math, because I would like to go ahead and put the heels in and not have to do a cut-in heel. Put the heels in and like be ready to do the toe when I get there. So we'll see. We'll see how long each stripe is making it and how they're looking. For those who are interested, real quick, here is my Saglan. You know, it's kind of a slow work in progress, which is really silly because it's got a whole body, a whole sleeve, and half a collar. So I knit, I did the purl row, and I am back to the ribbing. And I just haven't finished it. Sorry, it's all tangled because it's just been shoved in a bag for a while. And there's just been gift knits motivating me, so I just haven't finished. I need to finish the collar, and I have a whole other sleeve to do. So I just don't know when I'm going to get to it, but I will because I really love it, and I would love to be able to wear this floofy softness. So if I can talk myself into not doing too many more gift knits once I finish the stuff that's on my needles, maybe I can finish this. I say maybe because there's so many other things. One of the gift knits that I've not cast on yet, so it's in the maybe gift knits category. While Yarn Adventure Truck was here, I got a skein of Yarn Superhero. It's a lot like Spin Cycle Dream State. This is a DK weight. It's got all these colors and color changes in it, and it's gorgeous. And I got this one for my son, so if I can finish his fingerless gloves, I am going to make him another Musselburgh hat, but this time in DK weight because it'll be faster. He's decided that his favorite hat is the Halloween Musselburgh that I made, but his favorite color right now is purple, and his second favorite color is blue, and he's very specific about this, and then his third favorite color is green. And all of those are in this skein. And so I am just going to try to bust out a quick DK white Musselburgh hat for him. And then he'll have his fingerless gloves and a new hat for Christmas. The last thing I want to talk about really quick is my Yarny Advent calendar. So there are so many different yarn advents out there, and I wanted about, I don't know, there were like 20 different ones that I was trying to decide between. It was very difficult to choose, but I held myself back to just one. I almost ordered a second one, but I held myself back to just one. And the one I chose was Fiber Nymph Dye Works, and the theme was the art of contrast. And that theme just, the inspiration pictures and the theme, it just really spoke to me. So I was really excited to get this. It is just a 24 mini skein set because the 25th day was a self-striping, and I didn't figure I really wanted to use a self-striping with the 24 mini skeins. That wasn't how I envisioned using it, so I did not opt in to day 25. But it came all wrapped up in this tote bag. So the tote bag is the first of the extras for the Advent. So it's nice because everything fits inside of it, but also it will fit whatever project you decide to do with all of these minis. And I'm going to apologize for the crinkling, but I am keeping the days in their bags so far. I am going to show them, so if you also got the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Art of Contrast, don't look if you don't want spoilers. And I did the Dream MCN base, Merino Cashmere Nylon. They are 20-gram minis, and I opened up day one and loved it immediately. I am very happy with this advent so far. I know I've only opened 2 days worth, but there's first this gorgeous berry plum color that came on day one, and I was like, yes, yes, please. So each one is in a little polka dot bag. They are all labeled with what day they are. I love it. It's really cute. The only hard thing is going to be that the extras came in another bag labeled extras. And so you have to decide, because in addition to the bag, there are 3 more extras. So you have to decide when to open those instead of them randomly appearing. And so I was trying to decide if I wanted to like have a specific day of the week where I opened them or what I want to do. So thoughts and opinions are welcome, but I have not decided when I'm going to open the extras. I'm not one of those people that wants to open them all at once. I love suspense, and I will drag it out, I'm sure. So day 2, sorry for the crinkling, is this really gorgeous gold color. It's reading a lot more yellow on screen, I feel like, than it really is. It's definitely a deeper goldy, almost more orange color. That's a bit better. Block a little bit of that too much light that it's blowing it out. But it's really pretty, and I'm starting to rethink what I want to do my Radvent cardigan in, and if I end up loving all of these Art of Contrast colors as much as I think I might, instead of using the mermaid set for the Radvent, I might use this set. I would still need to pick a solid 100-gram skein for, I think it's the cuffs and the ribbing at the bottom and maybe a button band. So I'm going to wait until I have them all open. I'm not doing a project where I have to keep up with each day's mini skein. Maybe next year. I've never done it that way before, but it could be a fun challenge next year, but I'd have to be more organized and talk myself out of so much gift knitting. So anyway, 2 days into that, and very happy with it so far. If you got an advent, I'd love to know which one you got, what the theme is, and how you're feeling about it so far. I'm very happy with this one. I loved the presentation of the one I got from the Creative Knitter last year. It did take up a bit of space because of all the individual cardboard boxes, but I loved that I was able to recycle it all afterwards. So I also love the presentation of this one, how everything's in a colorful polka dot bag, and it's all within a project bag, and so the container it's in is useful, and the bags are adorable, and it fits very tidily, like on the dresser in my room, so that I can open it each day. Did I say that was the last thing? I don't remember. Anyway, I went to the store to get stuff for my kids' advent calendar because it's a bunch of crafts and activities and things, and ended up grabbing 2 skeins. I went to Michael's of this loops and threads cozy blanket yarn, and I'm not going to make a blanket out of it. What I did was I also got a big wreath form, and I got 2 skeins of this because they were buy one, get one. And I thought I would need 2 skeins to do the large wreath form that I bought, but I single crocheted around the wreath and put a giant bow and some foofy things in it and just made a new wreath for my house. And now I want to make all the wreaths, which takes away from my knitting time a little bit, but I just enjoyed making it so much and putting it together that I kind of want to make a couple more. And I had an entire skein left over that I didn't even get into, and I have some smaller wreath forms than what I used for myself. So I was kind of thinking I might make wreaths for my grandma and my sister. So I don't know, but that would mean another trip to Michael's to get more do lollies to stick in it. I did have a few things left over that I bought that I didn't end up using theme wise. Um, and I have a couple of larger size craft projects like a wreath that I want to make with my kids. Um, I think one of them is going to be like a pom pom wreath, which should be fun. And then like a pom pom tree. I have a tree form and a big bag of assorted pom poms, and hopefully they can just go crazy with it. But we're gonna try that. Hopefully, it doesn't descend into utter chaos, but we'll see. But yeah, so I'll pop a picture of my wreath in because I don't want to take it down off the wall. My kid's elf is sitting in it right now, so that's another thing. If I move the elf while they're at school, they will know. If I even breathe on the elf while they're gone, they will know. It's it's amazing. They love that silly elf. But um, I'm gonna skip most of the life chat for now. I had thought about doing Vlogmas, but I just don't think I have it in me. I think it is more important that I focus on just being present in the moment with my kids and doing the holiday things and not worry about Vlogmas at all. So if I do anything, it'll just be uploads at the ends of my episodes about the crafts and things that we're doing. I took a picture yesterday because we did get our elf brought a tea advent calendar from Adagio. And so every day we get a packet of tea that's enough to make 16 ounces. And we have a little tiny teapot. So the kids and I are having tea after school, and I'm writing down what kind it is and whether or not they liked it. So when I do order more, I'll know which ones they really enjoyed and which ones they didn't. And if they're decaf, we're having them after school. And if they have caffeine in them, we're going to have them in the morning with breakfast so that it does not keep them up at night. But yesterday's, the first one was a like a rooibos pumpkin chai. And I was really amazed how much the 7-year-old loved it because I don't think he'd ever had chai before. And I think today's is some kind of a passion fruit rooibos. So 2 decaf ones, so we'll have afternoon tea again. I'm going to get going, but I really hope that you're having a wonderful holiday season. I would love to hear if you are gift knitting or not, or what you're working on. Tell me about your advents, whether or not you're doing or watching Vlogmas, just all the things. So thank you for joining me, and take care. Have a lovely December.